Hello, my name's Jack Howard, and I'm with a bunch of creators from around the world, and today we're lucky enough to talk to Michael Fassbender and the legendary Ridley Scott. How are you guys doing today?
Fine.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
fine. Yeah, good. I'm going to kick off the questions straight away. I just want to ask, as a director, I've heard that people never are happy with their films, even when they move on. Out of all the films that you've made, are you ever completely happy with what you've done?
Yeah, I mean, it's like all my films are like my kids. Mm-hmm. I all love them equally, because I never let it go till I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah.
That's cool. Mm. Has anyone got a question?
Yeah, got one question. I'm sorry, it's a stupid question. It's to Michael, but I have to start this off straight away because we were wondering, what is it like to kiss yourself?
Wonderful.
I can imagine. Yeah. What was the feeling like? Because we didn't figure out how it worked technically, but was there another guy, or was it a mirror, or was it CGI, or was it?
That's a secret.
There's another Michael.
No, I had a double, Tom. And
very much in love.
yeah, we've kept in touch, sent each other postcards. And,
You're not leaving your trunk when you.
So yeah, we had a fantastic. Seriously, Tom O'Sullivan, who was my double for those scenes where both Walter and David were together, and so we had to be pretty strict with the. Foreplay, no, I'm just kidding. With the blocking in that scene. So we rehearsed the blocking, we figured out, okay, this is what the blocking's going to be, and then we had to be very precise with that blocking because we were going to be filming Walter, Tom was going to be playing David, and he was going to be mimicking the movement that David was doing, and then we were going to be doing the reverse, and we're going to put both those plates together. I was kissing Tom, to answer your question.
Who else has got a question?
Was it difficult for you to portray two characters, David and Walter, and is it tough?
No, it was just that, I had to sort of identify the two of them. Luckily, from Prometheus, we knew what David was. We had a foundation to work from where he was going to go, and he was sort of established. So then it was just about finding out who Walter was and to have enough of a sort of difference, but also to have, a similarity between them as well. Obviously, looking the same helps, but just a sort of tone of voice, but then sort of have a different accent.
Was that your decision to change the accent, or
it was an obvious thing to do.
Yeah, I think we talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
It was it's pretty obvious. And then just to sort of one is obviously emotionally charged, and the other one is very just logical and devoid of emotion. And
Governors.
Yeah.
It's like putting a governor on a car, and you don't want to go beyond 60 miles an hour. If you're making an AI that is obviously a repetition of the previous model had problems, you're going to put governors on them in various places, like no emotion, no anger, etc.
Very cool.
I have probably one of the biggest questions about Alien Universe, and you're the only one that can answer me this. So,
there's a diagram.
If a xenomorph decides to use a hat, which of these is the correct way to use it?
Definitely number 4.
Number 4 is pretty good.
Definitive answer.
I'm shaking.
I'd love to see a xenomorph wearing a hat now. I think that's the next one.
Well, it's a big jelly bag.
Did the creation or did the reception of Prometheus influence the creation of the Covenant, or was it in line with the original concept?
I mean, screenplays are an evolution, and particularly when you're starting from scratch. And Alien was 79. The following 3 films never asked a very simple question: what was the ship? Who was the pilot? Who was in the hold? Why the eggs? And why would they evolve? Who would make such a hideous biomechanoid weapon? I figured it was a weapon. No one asked the question. So I figured that we could resurrect it by coming back with Prometheus. But I thought that the old alien was played out, the xenomorph was played out, and therefore it was tired. And what I learned from Prometheus was it wasn't tired. Prometheus did very, very well from a ground zero start again, but it told me that you better start to include the alien. And that process, we're already right. How many is this? 10 years? 10 years since Prometheus?
No, 2010, I think.
Yes.
Wasn't
What did I
it?
say? 10 years since.
2012 it came out probably, but we shot it 2000.
Yeah, but so there's only 10 years. Somebody said 10 years. I said, no, it's not. It's
Oh,
5.
but it's been 10 years since in the story.
Oh. Okay, yeah, so it's I mean, shit.
That's okay, I get it. You're like, it's 5 years.
So what was your question?
Lost 5 years there.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it influences, of course. And organically, great thing about science fiction is anything goes, but you've got to draw up your rule book on fantasy. Fantasy should be real. Whatever you're going to do, better be real. If it's not real, it's not really going to be that successful. It's going to leak water like a leaking bucket.
I'm sorry.
I'll come to you next.
Michael, did you did something different or particular to prepare yourself for this role?
Just, I suppose, finding Walter. But it's always kind of the same process, just working with the script, really. And then trying to find sort of outside inspirations. But, it's kind of always the same sort of process, really.
Question? I feel like this is so much darker than any of the other Alien movies. That was my
Really?
take on it.
Good.
Totally. It was a lot scarier and a lot darker. And I guess I'm just wondering, is that a tone that you had always wanted to apply? Do you feel like it's darker?
Hardest single thing to do is scare people. To make people laugh a lot easier, I think.
I think it's funny.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just me.
I mean, it's
find it
But I
funny.
think there's like an intrinsic link between
It's
comedy and horror.
terrifying.
I
It's
think they're linked.
terrifying. Yeah,
After
that's
people
what
get
it's about
scared,
too.
they laugh. I think there's like a link between them.
That's right, and if you can laugh first, then you get terrified. It's a very disarming thing.
Because I think the prologue's pretty amusing, actually, because it's a testing ground where you see the father figure, or the god, created this creation, and this creation within 4.5 minutes is already challenging his father figure. I think that's kind of amusing.
Yeah, but also the sort
Real.
of, slapstick moments, like Amy coming running in with the shotgun, slipping in the blood. And
Yeah.
Sure.
that's funny. And then her leg gets caught in the door. These are the awkward things that happen while you're being chased by an alien.
I like
gotta
is that
stand
a
up.
question? I use that now in meetings. I say, is that a question? Yeah, it's a question. Where are you from?
Me?
Yeah.
California.
Yeah, but where originally?
That's where I grew up, like right around Los
Roman at all?
Angeles.
Rome? No.
No, I'm English and Irish.
I'm looking at the profile.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, I've got a profile.
Talking about the original one, I love all the references. You even put the water bird in the movie.
Yes, the diviner.
The diviner.
The bird, yeah. yeah.
Is it more difficult or is easier to think and make science fiction nowadays than in 1979?
No, I think it's the hardest thing to do is write a script. Get the script right, and you've got everything. Get a script right, and making the movie is really easy. It's the screenplay is the son of a bitch, and getting it on paper is key. I wish I could write better, but I mean I can write, and I do a lot of adjustment, but I haven't got the patience to sit out and bash through a screenplay. But writing is everything.
I want to say that, well, I'm an artist. I like to sculpt and
Paint.
Painting and sculpture. But I appreciate like old school special effects. What do you think about, nowadays we have all this technology. Do you prefer old school special effects or do you like
I mean, the original Alien and original Blade Runner had traditional matte paintings, and you can always spot the matte painting. Doesn't matter how well it's done. So if you want reality, I don't want to be taken out of the movie. So I prefer digital, because digital can literally adjust into real architecture or real flesh or real hair. And, it's amazing, startling.
What do you think about the amount of work that they need to make like these sculptures before and what it did now?
Be there. I'm 7 years at art school, so I ended up at the Royal College of Art and 4 years provincial art school. So I was with Hockney and David Kittage and people like that. Okay, so it was a major art school. so I can really draw. So what I do is I draw everything. I draw all my own boards. So boards for a film can end up this thick, but they're more than that, they're notes, but they're also visual notes because they make you, they're not stick figures, they make you decide wide shot, medium shot, close-up movement, and you're learning the geometry of the movie while you're doing it.
But you know, just to sort of add to that as well, like, you know, the interesting thing watching Ridley is like he's aware of the budget and everything. So if there's a place like in Prometheus, those little balls, Ridley was like, stick it on some fishing string and let's see if that works, some fishing wire.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work, then you go to the digital version of that.
Yeah.
But where you can sort of use old school and sort of then marry it with what's available, that's definitely something I've seen him do.
The old fishing rod's the best.
How does that work in digital with the alien itself? Because I assume in 1979 it was
Guy in a rubber suit.
Guy in a rubber suit, and is there anything like that?
No,
in this
Guy in a
one?
rubber suit. Yeah, we have a very good digital effect, not a very good prosthetic man, Connor, who I think is probably one of the best in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I still make a guy in a rubber suit on whatever I'm doing, and he does it so well that first of all the actors have something to react to and respond to, but even just as importantly, when I'm editing, I can use those shots to intercut in the film. Because if I didn't have that, I couldn't wait as long as 4 months to get a complete shot. So I've always got this hole in the cut. Do you know what I'm saying? Whatever you need, you want something. You don't want something that says scene missing.
Yeah.
So it's a practical thing.
How often do you let actors like add personal things to a scene? Because Catherine told us earlier that she suggested something in a scene where she, with the pickaxe at the ship, on top of the ship.
Sure. All the time. I mean, more than that, everyone devises their own method of work. And I don't like round table reads. I think they're a disaster, mostly. Unless you're literally doing a play. If you're doing a play for the stage, that's different. But you're doing a film, they're so fragmented. When you do a table read, it's not good. What I like to do is sit at the table individually with the person that is going to play the part and literally just talk about it. So with Catherine, I said, I've got a few things I think are weaknesses. She said, what are they? I said, well, I don't like the lines there. She said, no, don't take that away. So I said, really? She said, yeah, I can sell that. I said, okay, good. So to me, it's a partnership process. Working with the actor is a partnership process. I take a lot of time casting, because once I feel I'm in good hands, then I relax as well. So an actor will say, no, I can deal with that. You say, cool, you sure? Definitely.
There's also a lot of freedom that Ridley would give on any set with any actor. So certain directors will see the scene in their head, and I guess Ridley is somebody that has a sort of definitely sort of an idea of how the scene's going to play out because he's storyboarding everything himself. But he'll never say do this. Which a lot of directors, if they want their vision to be complete, they'll go, look, just stand over here, go over here, but they'll never do that. It'll always be a hint or a suggestion or a flavor, and then let you run.
And
actually,
that?
I've seen you do that with other members of your department,
Sure.
From camera to wardrobe to.
Do you prefer that, rather than being
I
puppeteers?
prefer it because, and then I do understand directors that have a very precise thing. Like I suppose Stanley Kubrick would have been like that because the frame wants everything. For me, I just don't find it as much fun, and also I think, I like the fact that you can't do that and interfere and allow the life and the other sort of brains at work sort of change that maybe and perhaps show you something that you wouldn't have expected as a director. But it's just different schools. It's more fun, I find, Ridley's version.
You talked a lot about finding Walter's personality. What about his movements? What about how you constructed, for example, the fight scene? I noticed that it was a traditional fight scene with really sort of almost choppy movements at sometimes. How did you construct the movement of the android?
That's in terms of the fight sequence, that's really got to give credit to the stunt team there. Kyle and his stunt crew were fantastic, and I could sort of give input into that fight. But they kind of come up with the sort of muscle of it and the sort of, real sort of the theme of it. Yeah,
Good, wasn't it?
and we wanted sort of movements that were quick and fast. So I can't remember the technique of that fighting, but it's a lot of short blocks inside. You know, I don't even know what. It's. I don't think it's Aikido. It's not. It's like Aikido and it's kind of like Wing Chun, but it's not those. I don't think. So that's where we sort of came up to play with that. The idea that it would be very fast movements and very precise, short movements, and they're both sort of counteracting each other. In terms of the movement of the robot, then I just think of dancers. You know, so to have a very sort of good center, to have good posture, and movements that are you know, human but a little stuttery or a little off. You know, and
Uncanny Valley.
What's that?
Uncanny Valley, so it's like it's not quite
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Well, the first thing, you know, when we first did Prometheus, I used Greg Louganis for David, and that was just made a lot of sense to me because it was I remember as a child watching him on the high board, I just was found it kind of funny and also very engaging, and the fact that his movement is very much about, you know, economy of movement. So nothing is there as an excess movement. It's all very sort of contained.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you said earlier that since it's science fiction, it has to be believable. And if we knew no better, you could see that the aliens, like, you'd believe that they're real, right?
Yeah.
What for you is the most exciting part of seeing things that initially were just in your head and then on paper coming to life? Like, what was the most exciting bit of that for you?
I mean, honestly, making movies at every stage is exciting. I haven't worked a day in my life, really. I know, really. I mean, it's like, that's why I keep doing it. And I think every stage is fascinating. And what you do, though, I learned to trust my intuition. Your intuition is very powerful, and you can be way off, of course, but, you know, experience also builds. So if you listen to your experience, which is an equation with your intuition, and my gut says do that, I just do it now. I just go boom. And that's how directing is also about being decisive, providing you make the right decisions. Make the wrong decision, that's tricky.
That was a huge lesson for me, the intuition thing.
Yeah.
And I would say one piece of advice that I would give to anybody starting off anything is to trust your own intuition. Yeah. Because it's absolutely true.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything, because you can overthink everything.
First of all, Sarah, I want to thank you because I'm here enjoying this. Thanks for Alien, and I want to ask you if there's any real possibility to bring back Ripley, doing Sigourney Weaver younger with digital techniques.
Well, we're heading towards the back end of the first Alien, so that may be feasible. I don't think it'll. But Ripley's going to be somebody's daughter. Obviously, because you're coming in from the back end,
yeah,
right? And you know the time constraints of what's the time between this film where we leave David going off into intending for that colony. I think you're probably 2 films out from even considering her. He's going to go, oh no.
If you can program a droid like David to act, do you think it can be a good actor?
Sure, I think probably David would.
I think David already is a pretty good actor.
Yeah, I think so. He enjoys the theatrical, let's just say. Yeah.
He can put on an accent really well. Yeah.
You talked there about the end of the movie, obviously without giving anything away. Is there a firm idea of where the story is going after this?
Definitely. It's already being written.
What is it?
I'm not telling you.
Yes, sir.
Well, but talking about these sequels, we're 10 years past Prometheus and 20 years before the original Alien in history's time.
Yeah, approximately.
The sequels is going to be the same time span, 10 years?
No, and I don't know, but fundamentally what you've got to drop in the equation is the time it takes. You see, Moon is 4 days flight right now. Mars, when I was in Martian, was 9 months, but already they've got a plasma engine, which is now converted to 7 months. But 7 months to Mars. So it's really about money as to whether or not and how soon they actually make that journey. But I think they'll be standing on Mars or seriously thinking about it by 2025. It's really about lots of the order of things, how you get habitat up there so they live with it, all that stuff. But the important, relevant thing to your question is that Mars is literally the last threshold of space. Everything beyond Mars, I think, is 1.5 years light speed. That's huge amount of distance. Therefore, you've got to have taken on board either a large enough craft where people born, live, die, born, live, die, born, live, die on the journey, or they sleep. I don't buy people sleeping for 20 years. I don't buy it.
What's the most difficult part of your job? What would you consider?
It isn't. It's really easy.
It's really easy.
I really like it.